No. All right. Let me get to the bottom.
No, listen.
The whole situation that happened with Quando.
How we live and how we go by our and I'm speaking for the whole Chicago. You ain't there. Shut the fuck up. You weren't there. So you made a diss and said something about Vaughn. That's why I don't f with you. You ain't did shit. Did zero.
$1 million bounty. OTF members cracking under pressure and turning on their own crew. The feds digging deep, pulling out receipts nobody ever thought existed. Texts, flight logs, credit card records. Every move tracked and logged. The whole street's been buzzing nonstop about it. But this time the feds got hard proof. This is the full breakdown behind that $1 million hit. Listen close, because what's about to unfold is some of the wildest, most jaw-dropping stuff the rap world has ever seen. There are certain moments in hip-hop that hit way harder than others. Moments that shake the entire culture and rewrite the rules forever. And one of those moments went down on the night of November 6th, 2020, right outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta, Georgia. That night wasn't just another headline. It was the spark that flipped the whole industry upside down and set off a chain reaction that's still unraveling to this day. King Von, born Davon Daquan Bennett, lost his life in a chaotic street brawl that spiraled into a deadly shootout between both camps. Now, years later, federal prosecutors are putting it all on record, claiming that a $1 million bounty was placed straight on Quando Rondo's head as pure retaliation for what went down that night. It's wild, it's raw, and it's got the whole game watching every move. Before we dive into just how massive these new federal court documents really are, dated January 2026, we gotta spin the block and go back to that night where everything started.
You don't even know.
All right. All right. Let me get to the bottom.
No, listen.
The whole situation that happened with Quando.
How we live and how we go by our and I'm speaking for the whole Chicago. You ain't there. You weren't there. So you made a diss and said something about Vaughn. That's why I don't with you. You ain't did shit. You did zero. In reality, it just happened the way it happened. Like it didn't have nothing to do with age and none of that shit. It just
pay close attention, because from this point on, things get heavy. Real heavy. The stakes shoot straight through the roof, and the truth starts to sound crazier than fiction. Fast forward to 2022. Federal prosecutors dropped a bombshell. They're claiming that Lil Durk allegedly put a $1 million bounty on Quando Rondo's head as payback for King Von's death. This isn't just street gossip. This came straight out of a second supplemental memorandum filed on January 23, 2026 in the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California. That's official paperwork, not rumor. When word of this hit the internet, the entire hip-hop scene went wild. Social media blew up. Bloggers couldn't stop posting, and the streets were buzzing nonstop. Everyone was asking the same question: is this for real? It sent shockwaves coast to coast, from LA to New York and everywhere in between. What made it even crazier was that this wasn't just another vague claim or headline grab. Nah, the feds came with specifics. They're saying this $1 million bounty was part of an organized, calculated plan, not some random talk for clicks. Allegedly, OTF insiders acted as middlemen, reaching out to potential shooters, letting them know that whoever completed the mission would be made straight. That's street slang for getting paid heavy and set for life. This wasn't just beef anymore. It was a full-blown operation that had the feds watching every move. Court filings straight up named OTF member DeAndre "Muop" Wilson as a key player in the alleged setup. He's being painted as the main recruiter, the one spreading word about the bounty through the streets and pulling together a squad of hitters ready to roll out to Southern California to handle serious business. It was more than talk.
What made you want to sign King Von?
Cause he got a whole story behind him. You know what I'm saying? He from O Block.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That should speak for itself. Nah. But know what I'm saying? He just real. You know what I'm saying? His music, he just real. Just, you know what I'm saying? It's my brother, twin.
This was a whole plan moving in silence. Everything came to a boiling point on August 19, 2022, when prosecutors say the plot finally unfolded like something straight out of a movie. According to them, it wasn't random. It was cold, calculated, and mapped out with military-level precision. 3 shooters, masked up and rolling deep in a white sedan, pulled up next to a black Cadillac Escalade parked at a Beverly Grove gas station, just minutes away from the Beverly Center in Los Angeles. Without a second thought, they unleashed over a dozen shots, lighting up the vehicle in broad daylight. The intended target? Quando Rondo himself. But somehow, by pure luck, fate, or divine intervention, Rondo walked away untouched. Not a single bullet grazed him. His cousin, Xavier Lil Pab Robinson, wasn't nearly as lucky. Lil Pab was hit during the ambush and later passed away at the hospital, leaving the city shaken and fans heartbroken. One life gone, and the main target still breathing. It was a brutal twist that nobody could have predicted. Afterward, Lil Tim, Quando's right-hand man and loyal day one since the King Von tragedy in Atlanta, opened up about what it felt like hearing there was supposedly $1 million price tag on their heads. He spoke on how wild it was to live every day knowing that kind of danger was allegedly out there lurking. The evidence the feds claim to have stacked up in this case is straight up wild, way deeper and more detailed than anyone ever imagined. We're talking about iCloud messages, bank records, and travel receipts that supposedly lay out every move like a digital blueprint.
So I'm a piggyback off this, bro. At the end of the day, King Von, that was my brother, bro. Like King Von, like he was like a brother. He was the realest person I had in the industry, like as far industry wise. When he used to be on house arrest and I used to hit him, bro, I was coming to him. Like when I used to get to Atlanta, yo, I need some pipes, I need some sticks out here, whatever. I'm coming to him, to his house, I'm pulling up.
Investigators allegedly pulled messages from Durk's devices showing serious talk about staying low-key and keeping things off the grid, with lines like, "Don't book no flights under no names with me," suggesting a strong awareness of how real things were getting. The feds didn't stop there. They dug through financial trails too. According to court documents, OTF credit cards were allegedly used to pay for flights, rental cars, and hotel rooms for the crew that flew from Chicago to Los Angeles to handle the mission. Every transaction, every charge, every mile flown, paper trails for days. It's all being presented as evidence tying Durk's camp directly to the attempted hit in a way that's hard to brush off. But it gets even crazier. Prosecutors say the most serious claims come after the failed hit. They're alleging that Durk rewarded those involved under federal murder-for-hire laws, which means anything of value counts. Cash payments, iced-out jewelry, flashy grills, even cameos in OTF music videos. They're saying those rewards weren't just hush money. They were public recognition. Shout-outs in lyrics, appearances in videos, and coded nods dropped after the shooting. All allegedly meant to show love to the hitters who took that risk. If what the feds are claiming holds up, it paints a picture that's not just scandalous, it's explosive. The feds are calling this the final piece of the puzzle, the bounty promise fulfilled. They're saying the rewards and shoutouts counted as payment, even though the actual target, Quando Rondo, survived and is still out here walking free. But it doesn't stop there. Things get way darker from here.
I was the one really in bro ear, like, know what I'm saying? I don't want to be this person in your ear to be like, know what I'm saying, let this chill, like don't move on it. But bro, I'm gonna be that person to let you know, bro, like this cycle we in as black men is a never ending cycle. Cause at the end of the day, bro, we one person, we got one conscious mind.
Prosecutors claim this whole operation went far beyond just one hit. According to federal informants who've testified under oath, Durk allegedly had active bounties out on 6 or 7 other rivals he was beefing with heavy at the time. Court docs even mention names like Duke and Recco, painting a picture that's way more sinister than just rap beef. The feds are describing OTF not just as a record label or music crew, but as what they're calling a hybrid criminal enterprise, a setup that used the rap game as a front while allegedly coordinating street-level operations behind the scenes. Then came the major takedown. On October 24, 2024, U.S. Marshals swooped in and arrested Durk in Broward County, Florida, along with 5 OTF affiliates: Kayvon London Grant, DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, Keith Jones, David Bryan Lindsay, and Asa Houston. The list of charges is serious business: conspiracy to commit murder for hire, using interstate facilities for murder resulting in death, and firearm possession tied to a violent crime causing death. These aren't small-time accusations. They're federal charges with life-changing weight. Prosecutors are saying if Durk is convicted on everything, he could be facing life behind bars, with zero chance of ever walking free again. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the story just keeps getting wilder with every new document that drops. Durk's whole life, his career, his fame, everything he built from the bottom could all come crashing down.
I'm gonna tell you this, and Lil Durk is my witness, cause he my brother too. When after that happened with Vaughn and all that shit was happening, bro, I was the one really in bro ear, like, know what I'm saying?
What really made things spiral for him and completely killed his shot at bail was what prosecutors said came next. They're claiming that right when the feds were closing in, Durk was trying to flee the country, with flights allegedly booked to Dubai, Switzerland, and Italy to dodge prosecution. That supposed escape plan was a major red flag for the judge, who immediately denied bail and ordered that Durk stay locked up until trial. But it didn't stop there. The case kept expanding, and by December 2024, it reportedly got linked to another murder-for-hire plot, pushing things to a whole new level. Court papers tied Durk to the fatal shooting of Stefan Mack in Chicago, which prosecutors said proved he was a major flight risk and shouldn't be released under any condition. This turned what was already a shocking situation into a full-blown legal nightmare. The feds started connecting dots from city to city, building their case and painting a picture of a rap star living two lives, one in the spotlight and one deep in the shadows. Before everything went down, Durk actually spoke out about his side of the beef, addressing his connection with Quando Rondo, an NBA youngboy, trying to set the record straight about where things really stood. But here's the twist that had everyone, from the block to the burbs, absolutely losing their minds. Those leaks everyone's been whispering about, they didn't come from outsiders. They came from inside OTF itself, from people who were supposed to be loyal till the end. That betrayal flipped the whole story upside down and had the streets talking like never before.
Well, not everybody. He just rapped in a new song. He said Drake turned him down. That probably hurt his feelings. Clearly hurt his feelings. He rapped about it. Are you calling around to the industry saying, yo, if y'all f with Youngboy, we're done? And I'm gonna ask you that, especially because there's another situation.
If you f with anybody that harm my people, I can't f with you. I'm not into it with you.
Multiple witnesses have now flipped, including at least one OTF member who allegedly started talking to the feds to dodge a 12-year prison sentence. These insiders have reportedly handed over detailed statements about the alleged bounties, the shootings, and how OTF supposedly operated behind the music. In a game where loyalty means everything, and snitching is the ultimate betrayal, this move sent shockwaves through the entire rap world. This kind of internal cooperation is something nobody ever expected. It's changing the way street politics work. The wild part, the most damaging information didn't come from outsiders or rivals. It came from people who were part of Durk's own inner circle, folks who once claimed they'd ride with him till the wheels fell off. These are the same ones now said to be giving the feds the kind of insider info that could seal his fate for good. Even Lil Tim spoke on what it felt like knowing there were supposedly people out there hunting for him, trying to collect on that $1 million tag. He talked about how he had to keep his mind sharp and his guard up every single day, knowing the danger could come from anywhere at any time. But to really grasp how things spiraled this far, how that $1 million bounty even came to exist, we gotta rewind back to that night in Atlanta where everything first went down. That moment wasn't just another scuffle. It was the spark that ignited years of retaliation, heartbreak, and non-stop street tension that's still echoing through the culture today.
But it's music, though. And they might feel like they don't have a pick a side.
No, it's not music. It's Vaughn. Because that's what the whole situation about.
Yeah.
So it's not music, it's Vaughn.
King Von wasn't just another rapper trying to climb up the drill scene ladder. Far from it. He was Lil Durk's protege, officially signed to the Only the Family, OTF collective, and he carried the entire spirit of O-Block on his back. In Chicago streets, Von wasn't just representing, he was the voice of everything that Block stood for. His music hit different because it came straight from real life. Von didn't rap fairy tales or make-believe stories. He told the truth about what he lived through, what he saw, and what he survived. Every bar was personal, raw, and unapologetic. That's what made him stand out in a world full of fabricated street tales. Von had receipts in his lyrics, but before the fame, the shine, and the tours, Von had already faced more than most people could imagine. He had a long trail of legal battles, starting young. One of the biggest was a 2014 murder case, where he was charged with first-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted murder after a shooting at a birthday party that left 19-year-old Malcolm Stuckey dead. Von sat behind bars in Cook County Jail for over 3 years before finally beating the case in December 2017, when prosecutors admitted the evidence wasn't strong enough to convict him. When Durk brought Von into OTF and introduced him to the world, everyone could feel the connection. They were locked in like family. That wasn't just a label relationship. That was real brotherhood born from the trenches. They shared the same pain, the same hunger, and the same loyalty that built their bond from day one. But no one could have predicted how that bond would be tested in the most heartbreaking and life-changing way possible. It all went down on the night of November 6th, 2020. a night that would change the entire rap game forever. Both King Von's squad and Quando Rondo's crew happened to be in Atlanta, but for completely different reasons. Von had been out celebrating big wins, performing at events, and later popping out at Opium nightclub to turn up with his people. Meanwhile, Quando Rondo was chilling just a few miles away at the Monaco Hookah Lounge, kicking it with his circle, including his longtime right-hand man Timothy Lil Tim Leaks, who'd been down with him for years. At some point that night, Von got a call. Word on the street was that Rondo was at the lounge. That tip lit a fuse, and before anyone knew it, Von and his crew decided to slide over there to confront him face to face. Nobody could have predicted how fast things were about to spiral out of control. Surveillance footage later released by investigators shows Von walking up on Rondo's group in the parking lot around 3:15 a.m. Von approached Rondo's vehicle and out of nowhere, swung first, catching Rondo completely off guard while he was still sitting inside the car. What some witnesses described as a fair one, a straight-up fistfight, exploded into chaos within seconds. As more people jumped in, tempers flared and weapons came out. The tension hit a boiling point fast. That's when Lil Tim, sitting in the passenger seat of Rondo's ride, reacted. He pulled out and fired multiple shots, striking Von several times in the middle of the brawl. That split-second decision turned a simple street fight into a deadly confrontation, one that didn't just end a life, but set off a wave of retaliation, grief, and violence that the culture's still feeling to this day. The whole scene exploded into pure chaos, people running in every direction, cars peeling off, and shouts echoing through the night. It was total mayhem. In the middle of that madness, 6 people got hit in the crossfire and 3 lost their lives, including King Von, who was rushed to Grady Memorial Hospital but sadly didn't make it after his injuries proved fatal. The streets went silent in disbelief. Lil Tim later spoke out about what happened that night, breaking down the impossible position he found himself in. He said it was a split-second choice, one he made to protect his brother. Timothy Leaks, his government name, was arrested and hit with a felony murder charge for Von's death. But in March 2023, prosecutors dropped the charges, saying the shooting fell under Georgia's Stand Your Ground law. It was self-defense. Quando Rondo was never charged at all. Investigators said the footage and witness statements backed up the claim that Rondo's crew was reacting to Von's aggression, not starting the fight. To the legal system, that was the end of it. But in the streets? Nah, that's a whole different world. Where Durk and Von came from, the law didn't mean much. The streets got their own rules. No courtrooms, no judges, just codes of loyalty and revenge. And according to federal prosecutors, Durk allegedly saw Rondo as the one responsible for Von's death, no matter what the paperwork said or who pulled the trigger. To Durk, Von wasn't just another artist signed to his label. He was family, his brother in every sense. The pain hit deep, and everyone around him could see it. The way he moved, the music he dropped, even the silence between his words. Von's loss wasn't just a tragedy, it was the spark that ignited everything that followed. That wasn't just an artist to Durk, that was family. A real brother from the same blocks, someone he'd known since they were both little kids running wild through the neighborhood. Durk had held Von down through years of legal battles, jail time, and every struggle that came with the come-up. He didn't just sign Von, he believed in him, invested in him, and watched him grow into something powerful. And then, just like that, he was gone, forever. NLE Choppa, who had been close with Von and saw him as a genuine brother, spoke on how deep that connection ran. He talked about how Von's energy, loyalty, and drive left a mark on everyone around him. That kind of bond doesn't fade, it sticks with you. And it was in that exact space, grief, rage, heartbreak, that prosecutors claimed the alleged $1 million bounty was born. They're saying it came from a place of pain so raw that it turned into vengeance, sparking a chain of events that brought bloodshed, federal indictments, and one of the most shocking murder-for-hire cases the hip-hop world has ever seen. Even FBG Butta, who had long been on the opposite side of the beef with Von and had his own history tangled up in all that drama, kept it real about how he felt when he first heard the news of Von's death. Hearing that Von was gone hit the streets like a bomb. Rivals, friends, and fans all reacting in disbelief, realizing that this wasn't just another rap beef gone wrong. It was something way deeper. He even broke down how deep that beef between them really ran. Years of tension, back and forth, and street loyalty put to the test. The truth is, the streets don't forget, and the streets don't forgive. That's the cold code that allegedly fueled the entire $1 million plot prosecutors are now talking about. When you lose someone that close, someone who felt like blood, the pain doesn't just fade away. It sits in your chest, heavy, turning into something darker over time. And according to prosecutors, that heartbreak and anger allegedly morphed into revenge, a dangerous mix that would only bring more tragedy. Lil Tim also opened up about his connection with Lil Pob, who became an unintended victim in all of this chaos. He spoke with real pain about losing someone who'd been right there beside him through everything. It showed how deep the emotional toll of this whole situation ran, not just for one side, but for everybody caught in it. Now comes the reckoning. As the case against Lil Durk heads toward trial, his legal team is going all out, challenging every line, every document, every so-called piece of evidence the feds claim to have. In a 37-page brief filed in January 2026, Durk's lawyers came swinging, denying every single allegation with force. They argued that the entire case is built on shaky informants, people who are only talking to cut down their own sentences and save themselves. The defense is saying the feds' whole argument is weak, full of unreliable witnesses who've got their own motives. One of the biggest fights right now? The feds trying to use Durk's rap lyrics as evidence. Lyrics that his team says are pure expression, not confessions. The outcome of that battle could change everything. Prosecutors came out swinging, trying to use 12 different music videos and song lyrics as evidence. They claimed those visuals and bars exposed OTF's internal structure, who's connected to who, and even showed what they called a reward system for sliding on enemies. It was a bold move, and the defense wasn't having any of it. Durk's lawyers fired back hard, bringing in expert Eric Nielsen, who's known for exposing how rap music gets unfairly targeted in the legal system. They argued that violent lyrics in hip-hop get picked apart way more than anything said in rock, country, or metal, even when those songs talk about the same kind of violence. The defense said this whole strategy feeds racist stereotypes about black artists, twisting creative storytelling into so-called confessions. And believe it or not, it started to work. The argument hit home with the judge. In May 2025, a revised indictment quietly removed several references to Durk's lyrics after the court agreed they could unfairly influence the jury. That move was a major win for Durk's legal team, giving them a bit of breathing room in a case that's been stacked against them from the start. Still, the prosecutors aren't backing down. They're insisting that some of those lyrics and bars are directly tied to the alleged plots, that they prove intent and show how the crew operated. It's turned into one of the most heated legal debates in hip-hop history, art versus evidence, and the outcome could set a new precedent for every rapper facing the system. The defense isn't letting up. They've been tearing into the prosecution's story, exposing major inconsistencies in witness testimony. At least one key witness allegedly flipped their story completely, first denying any knowledge of a bounty, then later changing it up under pressure and claiming they knew all about it. Durk's legal team says those kinds of contradictions destroy the prosecution's credibility and create serious reasonable doubt for any jury paying attention. Durk continues to plead not guilty to every single charge, insisting he's innocent and being targeted by a system that's twisting narratives for headlines. He's been locked up in federal custody at MDC Los Angeles ever since getting extradited from Florida back in November 2024, and the conditions he's facing are no joke. The courts have denied multiple bail attempts, including a $3 million bail offer in December 2024 that the judge flat out rejected. Then things got even tougher. Between August 2025 and January 15, 2026, Durk spent months in solitary confinement after officers found an unauthorized Apple Watch in his cell. That discovery set off alarms about possible communication with the outside world and landed him in the hole, sparking serious concerns about his mental health and the extreme conditions he's enduring while waiting for trial. Meanwhile, the other name forever tied to this saga, Quando Rondo, has been facing his own problems with the feds. In December 2024, he was sentenced to 33 months after pleading guilty to conspiracy to possess and distribute marijuana. He officially started serving his time in January 2025, with a projected release date around April 2027. Two lives from opposite sides of the same storm, both caught up in a chain of events that started with one tragic night and spiraled into a federal case that's got the entire hip-hop world watching every move. The heat didn't stop there. The charges against Quando Rondo came from a June 2023 indictment, which also accused him of playing a leadership role in the Rollin' 60s neighborhood Crips out in Savannah. On top of the criminal stuff, the civil lawsuit started stacking up fast, turning this already heavy situation into an all-out legal storm. In October 2024, the estate of FBG Duck filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Lil Durk, King Von's estate, and OTF, claiming negligence and misconduct. They accused them of profiting from Duck's 2020 murder through songs, merch, and content that allegedly glorified the beef. It was another hit to an already explosive case, pulling even more attention to the darker side of the rap industry. Then in February 2025, Andrea Robinson, the mother of Lil Durk, filed her own wrongful death suit against Durk, demanding justice and financial damages for losing her son in the chaos. These lawsuits piled more weight onto a story already drowning in heartbreak and controversy. But what cuts even deeper is how all this tragedy shines a light on the endless cycle of violence running through hip-hop, one that's taken way too many young lives and still refuses to slow down. NLE Choppa, who personally knew and cared for Von, spoke on this cycle with real emotion. He shared how he'd tried to counsel Durk after Von's death, encouraging him to step back, find peace, and not let pain pull him deeper into the storm. His words hit hard, showing that even in the middle of chaos, there are still voices out here trying to break the pattern and bring some light to a world that's seen too much darkness. The trial is officially set for April 21st, 2026 at the Los Angeles Federal Court, though it's already been pushed back multiple times thanks to how massive and complicated this case really is. The feds have mountains of evidence, messages, bank trails, videos, and testimony, and both sides are gearing up for one of the biggest legal showdowns hip-hop has ever seen. A pre-trial conference is locked in for March 30th, 2026, where prosecutors and the defense will go head-to-head, laying out their final strategies before the real fight begins. What goes down in that courtroom won't just decide Lil Durk's future. It's about to set the tone for how the justice system handles hip-hop culture moving forward. This trial could redefine how courts interpret rap lyrics as evidence, how they view artist collectives like OTF, and how far prosecutors can go when linking music to organized street activity. The stakes are sky high. This case has already turned into a flashpoint in bigger conversations about racial bias in the justice system, the way black art forms get criminalized, and how hard it is for rappers to separate their real lives from their public image. For many, it's not just about guilt or innocence. It's about fairness, freedom, and representation in a system that hasn't always played fair. Lil Durk has spoken on all this before, opening up about how he views loyalty, betrayal, and what it means to stay solid when the pressure's on. He's even broken down his own perspective on the chaos surrounding him, trying to make sense of what loyalty really costs when the whole world's watching. At the very center of this entire case lies one massive question that only the jury can answer. Can prosecutors really prove, beyond a reasonable doubt, that Lil Durk orchestrated a $1 million murder-for-hire plot? That's the heart of it all. The government's case leans heavy on circumstantial evidence and testimony from cooperating witnesses, people whose credibility is already being ripped apart by the defense. No direct recordings of any bounty deal have ever been released or shown in court, which makes this trial one of the most unpredictable battles hip-hop has ever seen. But no matter which way the verdict lands, the truth is, the damage is already done. King Von is gone forever. Lil Durk is gone forever. Lives have been lost, dreams shattered, and entire families left broken beyond repair. What started as a tragedy in the streets has now turned into a legal storm that's changed the course of rap history. Durk's career, Von's legacy, and the futures of everyone tied to OTF are now tangled in a web of pain, loyalty, and loss. What was once about music and success has become a powerful reminder of how quickly things can fall apart when the line between fame and the streets gets blurred. The streets are watching, the feds are watching, and now the whole world's tuned in to see how it all ends. If you made it this far, show some love. Like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment below. Let us know your thoughts on this wild story and how you think this trial will play out.